I'm going to introduce my mechanical energy unit and walk you through the different parts of curriculum and instruction using a copy of my map that's been color-coded to show you the different parts of our ROYGBV study. So at the beginning of the map, it starts with our standards and benchmarks, which you pull through Rubicon. We have highlighted those in red on the screen. And I have a variety of different standards that I'm meeting throughout my mechanical energy unit. Next, we move into our enduring and essential understandings, and we're looking at our essential questions. And finally, we're listing the learning targets and skills. The one I'm going to focus on today is Learning Target 1, which is comparing the amount of potential and kinetic energy in motion using diagrams. How I do this is I have a simulation that students start the unit with. This is my hook for the unit, and it's something that we're going to come back to over and over. Students run the simulation by putting the skater on the skate track, and then they have a variety of tools that they can use. They can pull up bar charts, pie graphs, speedometer, different things to analyze his motion. And all the time they're thinking about, when he's in this position, how is his potential energy? When he moves to a new position, what does that do to his potential energy? How does kinetic energy change? And so they're evaluating what's happening during the different parts of the motion. Once students have completed this simulation, we move on to assessments, and their first assessment is taking these types of energy and then analyzing a new situation and identifying the types of energy and how they change throughout the motion. So moving into stage 2 then is where we start talking about the actual assessments. And again, because I've started with that simulation at the beginning, I'm able to bring that in to all of the assessments and scaffold student learning through the assessments, showing their growth and how they can analyze more complex systems as we go through the unit. The summative assessment for the unit is where students actually build a mechanical toy. It has to change from one type of energy to a different type of energy. So throughout the unit, all of the instructional strategies, all of the learning experiences are based on figuring out how to measure different types of energy. And when the students get to the summative assessment, they have designed their toy to specifically target 2 types of energy, one at the beginning and one at the end. And based on all of the learning experiences they had, they can measure the beginning energy of their toy, the ending energy of their toy, and they can also calculate the efficiency, because we know that some of the energy in their toy gets lost to thermal energy. And so that summative assessment brings all of the skills that we've seen in the learning experiences and the formative assessments to one summative assessment that's performance-based.
I'll be looking at a unit designed on innovation in the social studies area, and what's a little different than with science is it's more concept-based, more open-ended with our standards, and so we can play a little bit more with the different types of assessments that we do. And so for our innovation unit, it's a little longer. We have 2 major assessments. One is a writing piece where it's content-based on the Industrial Revolution specifically, where they have to make a claim and defend it using evidence from primary sources. And then they go on to look at innovation, not in just a time period, but in a wider time frame of what is an intervention that has affected human beings the most, from past to present. And once again, they're defending it, but by doing a video to try and convince their classmates that that's it. In looking at how that all lays out in the curriculum map, stage 1 has 2 major standards, and then the one actually gets to be repeated, dealing with innovation, which we don't always get to see. Then what I started doing and using the checklist is making sure all my components are there. And really, this part, what I've taken away from this session is the green piece of, do our formative assessments line up in our learning targets, and do our summative, is everything scaffolded right? And so I really worked with that in the unit, and actually underneath the learning targets put what formative and summative assessments, verified those and how it's scaffolded to get to the bigger end assessment.